This takes us as a segue into our next piece of the lecture here, which will be talking about booleans and conditions. So let's go to 0.0.5. All right, booleans and conditionals. All right, booleans and conditionals. That's what we're going to be talking about in this part of the lecture. So let me comment everything out so we have a very a blank canvas, a blank slate to work with. All right, but in order to talk about booleans and conditionals, we have to go down memory lane in terms of what we talked about. If I go up here, we saw at the beginning of our program, I said there were 3 data types, right? 3 main. There might be more. You can create there's more, right? But there are some complex data types out there that we'll not talk about it for now. So there is a string, there is a number, and then there is Boolean. And you might be asking, but what is Boolean? I don't know what Boolean is. All right, Boolean, that's what we want to talk about here, what this Boolean is. So similar to the way we have a number and a string that we've seen so far in all these pieces here, there's another concept within programming that talks about Boolean. And basically Boolean is a simple concept to understand, and it's everywhere around us in the real world. Boolean simply means true or false. So let's see, is it raining outside? Yes. Is it raining outside? No. Right. True or false. That's basically what Boolean is. Boolean simply just checks. It's just logic that tells us is something true or is something false. Black and white, right? There's no in between. Like for me, I'm sitting, I'm looking out the window. Is it snowing outside? Yes, it's snowing because it is, right? It's either snowing or it's not. It can be in between. So that's what Boolean allows us to handle, those kind of situations that are black and white, right? Things that are not in between. So I'm going to give some examples of how Boolean works in Python. So I'm going to say, let's take 2 numbers, 5 and 8. So I'll ask the question, is 5 greater than 8, right? Let's do this. Is 5 greater, or let's use a symbol, greater than, so a greater than is already that. So is 5 greater than 8? That's the question that we have, right? Is 5 greater than 8? This is, and that's why I love math, right? Because this is black and white. 5 is either greater than 8 or it's not. There is no debate. We're not, I mean, unless we want to go back and rewrite math, we know that either 5 is greater than 8 or it's not. In this case, 5 greater than 8 is what? False, right? So a Boolean is something that when you evaluate, so this is an expression, right? When you evaluate the expression, it either says true or false. So let's do, the way we do that in Python is we say print, right? 5 greater than 8, right? Very simple, right? So this is a question that we're asking. Let me do that. All right, so we're printing 5 greater than 8, right? So this will either say true or false. And voila, there you have it. It printed out false for us because 5 is not greater than 8. Okay, we can go ahead and we can say, is 5 greater than 3? What do we expect? This will be false, and this should be true, right? Because we know 5 is greater than 3. So Boolean just simply evaluates expressions for us and tells us if it's true or false. So here we have our false and then we have our true. All right, so that's basically what Boolean operation is. And this comes in very handy if we're trying to write the program. I'm sure you're asking, but why am I going through this? Or why does Python as a programming language have to have the concept of a Boolean? So think about you trying to write a program that says if it's raining outside, right? Don't start the sprinkler that waters your lawn. Or let's say if I'm hungry, then eat. So the Boolean now can be that check. If it operates to am I hungry, and if it says true, then you know that you can go ahead and do something. If it doesn't operate to, if it doesn't evaluate to true, then don't do some other thing. So it's it's a very powerful concept within programming, and we're gonna cover this a lot when we go into the one of the modules that's gonna talk about conditional statements, if else, and a lot of that. That will be heavily using Boolean operators, right? But it's important to just have an idea of why there is this concept of Boolean. Sometimes we see it's just short form as bool, like bool, like this. Within Python, we're going to be using it a lot, Boolean operators. So let's go ahead. There are many more Boolean operators. So we can say is 5. If you want to check if two things are equal 6. All right, is 5 equals 6? Nope, we know 5 is not equal 6, right? So this is the way you check if two things are equal within Python. So we say 5 equals 6. You use double equals to sign, right? Double. If I said 5 equals 6, problem, doesn't work, right? Because this is a formal language. The equals to sign has already been used here. 1 equals to sign is already to set variables. So you can say my age equals 30 and set that variable with the equals to sign, which we covered a little bit earlier. So that's the way you use one single equals to sign. Now, if you had to check if two things are equal according to Boolean logic, right, then we need this two. It's just a convention. Just remember it. If you're trying to say is this equals that, you have to use the double equals to sign. All right, so it's 5 equals 6. So if you go ahead and run that, false, right? Because 5 not equals 6. But you know, if we check is 5 equals 5, then of course we know 5 equals 5. So that should evaluate to a true. All right. And we can do booleans on strings too. All right, we can say print bool. Again, like I said, that's the operator is through. This is very trivial, right? And that should go to true. It's just simply checking, is that what it is, right? It simply say, is this string what it is? And the answer is yes. So very rudimentary stuff. I don't know how to really explain that any further. Let's go to the next one here. Print boolean of 3, for example, and this will also be true. So we see a bunch of trues here. All right, so those are Boolean operators that we can use.